What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiasE, the primetime capper, and I'm here at Super Bowl Media Week Radio Row with the great Eric Byrnes, a.k.a. Byrnesy, the Burn Man, that dude. And he's a guy that literally keeps baseball so entertaining. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us today. How's everything going?
It's fucking fantastic. Am I supposed to swear here? Or like, is it? Oh yeah. Are we all good? Yeah, I know. I like your vibe. I mean, good energy. I mean, we're talking Oakland. We're talking 18th and Murder. Like, damn. Like you're not. You know the hood.
Yeah. See, he said 18th and Murder, so he must know about Ghost Town too. Hey, because my Oakland people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, man, he mentioned Ghost Town too? Okay. So, West Oakland, East Oakland. But you got to play over in Alameda. Yeah. You got to have a great career with the A's, and you're an A's legend. It's not you just played for the team like a lot of people. You're an A's legend. How does that feel?
I tried hard. That was it. I mean, I did okay, but I think that it says a lot about the people of Oakland that if you go out there and you lay everything on the line and you give it your all each and every single day, they're going to remember you for that, and they're going to reward you for that, and just with the love. And so I loved playing this game. It was everything. And I think in anything in life, I also was ready to move on when it went. But to think that, for example, like I was voted to the top 50 A's players of all time for Oakland A's. It was just like, dude, I didn't deserve that. Like not even close. And so to get that spot because I endeared myself to the fans, that means something to me. And it means something because mainly it was a testament to how I went about my business, and it was less of how good I was as a player and more about who I was as a player and the effort that I put out on the field.
And your Arizona career, we're here in Arizona now, yeah. And when you got to the D-backs, you were like an instant impact for that team, and you helped them get to levels that they hadn't been to since they had won the World Series. How did it feel to be a veteran leader for that team with such a great group that you had?
It was very different than Oakland because Oakland, I was a young guy coming up, trying to make my way, and then I got here, and man, I looked around and we had Chris Young and Connor Jackson and Carlos Quentin and Stephen Drew, Justin Upton, and this a really good core group of young guys. I'm like, holy shit, man, that makes me the old guy.
Right.
And so I turned to Orlando Hudson, and O-Dog and I were just like, well, I guess we're the dudes.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing was that you got to lead by example. And we had Tony Clark there, who's now the head of the Players Association.
Right.
And Tony, one of the better people I've ever met in the game of baseball. And it was funny because I just recently ran across this old article, and they were talking about like the three leaders of the Arizona Diamondbacks walk into a bar, and one like goes behind the bar and starts dispensing advice. The other one, bellies up to the bar and starts talking and doesn't stop talking all night. And then the third one chugs a beer and heads out on the dance floor. You don't see him again. And so the last one was me. The middle one was Orlando Hudson. If you guys ever heard Orlando Hudson, he's just
former Dodger, yes, the O-Dog.
Never heard
Blue Jay as well.
Anybody talk like this.
Yeah.
And then Tony Clark is the one that's dispensing the advice. And it says, these are the leaders of your Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're basically defying all of the odds. But these are the reasons why. And it's when you take three guys that all come from very different backgrounds and different places, and it unifies a team. And we led in different ways, where Tony was the guy that was going to use his words to lead. And Orlando was going to lead by the effort he put out on the field and keeping guys in check. And the way I like to do things was, don't get me wrong, there's certain times where you wind me up and I'm going to shatter myself.
Right.
But for the most part, I was going to post up every single night and go out there and put my balls on the line. And ideally that is what would help these young guys see the way we went about that business, and then they would follow it up the same way. So it's not, now there's, here we are however many years later, but it's a recipe for success in life. Like you have to have multiple leaders, and I think I'm sure Tony Clark, for example, resonated with a lot of people. Same thing with Orlando. Same thing with me. But that's leadership, and I think leadership is more than anything is being authentic to yourself, and that's what was cool about that team.
And see, you're a guy that I know this is a crazy comparison. I really didn't watch him play because I'll be 39 in April. But if we had anybody that was kind of like the equivalent, the way that you hustled, and when I see the highlights of him, you reminded me of Pete Rose, the way that you went about your business and playing baseball and everything like that. Like your approach was really carefree, but you were hard as nails as well too. Do you think that you took a little bit from Pete Rose to make your game be what it was?
Yeah, I saw Pete play. I would see the highlights. I'd watch This Week in Baseball. In the early going, it was like 80. He was in the World Series with the Phillies. But I didn't get to see him enough. I didn't get to see him on a nightly basis, where the guy that I watched all the time was Will Clark. Mm-hmm. And I would watch as many Giants games as I could. And to see the way he went about his business, the intensity that he played with, that I don't give a fuck mentality, that resonated, with me. And Ricky Henderson, the flair he played with, just, the whatever it was, obviously stealing all the bases and ripping the bags, but the snatch catches and like that. I would look at these guys, and I didn't have Will Clark's swing. I didn't have Ricky's flair in the outfield by any means. But at the same time, you'd take like little parts of his game. Like, you know what? I may not ever look like Will Clark, but man, if I can match that intensity on a nightly basis, I would. All right, I may not ever be as smooth as Ricky Henderson, but if I'm able to get that swag, then there's a swag that you play with, and it doesn't have to necessarily be snatching balls or pimping homers or anything else. I like that, Ricky. So, but at the same time, I was going to do my own thing, and it was just going to be me. And those were, I'd say probably two of my biggest inspirations in baseball and playing. Now, that said, I also watched Pete, of course, flying through the air and diving. I'm like, dude, that's fun. That's why we play the game. Since we were kids, I love doing that shit.
Right. And baseball, and that's what makes baseball so fun. When you have entertaining players, it makes the game that much more interesting, and it makes it more of a storyline. And since we're getting into that part, let's get into a team that surprised all of us with their offseason acquisition, with their offseason moves, and that would be the Texas Rangers. Mm-hmm. They went ahead and got Jacob deGrom, Queen's finest, possibly the best pitcher in all of baseball over the last decade as well, too, when healthy. What do you think of that move, and do you think that the Rangers are moving towards something better than last place?
I think, besides DeGrom, a huge acquisition that you guys made was Bruce Bochy. I mean, that's to bring Boch in, and that's the type of guy that you surround him with some veterans, they're going to respond to them. And I think the biggest thing you could do as an organization is put your players in the best position to succeed. In order to do that, I can tell you 10 times over, you have to have the right guy leading the helm. And you have to have somebody that the players are going to respect, players are going to listen to, players are going to understand. And that's Bruce Bochy. Now, this is not a knock on Chris Woodward whatsoever. I actually love Woody. I played with Woody. I think for what they're trying to do right now going forward, like Boch is a guy. Chris Young, the other, I had an opportunity to have dinner at the White House with Chris Young. I have as much respect for him as anybody else in baseball. Just fucking brilliant dude. Obviously a Princeton guy, and he recognized it and he knew it and he saw it, and they made that move, and I think it's going to help him. Now that said, I hope Woody lands on his feet, will get another managerial opportunity, because he didn't have anything to work with, right? You're only as good as the players, and this is something that's slowly being pieced together. But I think they can mix things up. I really do. I think obviously the Astros are there, but I think the Rangers could be a surprise team.
Now, you just mentioned the Astros. Do you think the Astros are a capable back-to-back World Series winner?
They're so fucking good.
Oh, God.
It's like they fired their GM and for who God knows what reason, but it doesn't matter. If you're Jim Crane, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and for whatever reason, obviously there was internal conflict there, and just good riddance. And it seems like when you're a machine, and you remember that Sports Illustrated article, probably like, man, maybe 2012 or something. It says like you're 2017 World Series champs, and they ended up predicting it right. That was a trust the process, and that was the idea and concept behind the article, is that they were to trust the process of building this empire, and they've done it. Now, I would say be cautious because everybody is replaceable, but not everybody can be replaced, if that makes sense. And it's not always upgrading. Right. And so if you continue, you can take a bunch of like minor downgrades, whether it's a GM or whether it's a certain position, you're done. But this is a team that, I mean, they're just, you got Bregman in his prime, you got Altuve still doing his thing. Yordan Alvarez is arguably, the best hitter in the American League. You back that up with the staff. They're consistent. They're deep. They keep coming at you. They're good. They're just a really, really good baseball team, and they had the entire world against them, with the exception of Houston, this past fall, and they didn't give a fuck. They went out there and just kept doing what they do: win games, win games, win games, win. This is too easy, too easy.
Byrnes, you gonna flip on me when I tell you this. I said I'm a big Dodgers fan, so I'm kind of an Astros apologist because I love the game of baseball, and I say all the time, it didn't matter what they got accused of. If they go out there and win Game 7 the way that they won Game 7, none of that mattered because you still had a chance to win the World Series. So you can say what you want, but I think you guys are just getting mad because they go about their business in a way to where they're very professional and they are very good, and they don't do any bragging and they don't do any of that. They just go out there and win baseball games. They're kind of like the St. Louis Cardinals in a sense, in my opinion. Do you think that that's a great comparison to them as of now?
I think there's something to be said that they call it the Cardinal way,
right? And
now it's sort of become the Astro way,
right?
And they just punch of the ticket. They're not afraid. They're not scared when you're hitting in the postseason, every single postseason, and there's no extra anxiety. There's no extra pressure. You're going about your business, no problem. And they're completely unfazed. And when you get to that, it's the Yankees. It's the same thing when the Yankees of the mid-'90s were going through all that. They're like, just Jeter's like, this is what I do.
Right.
Like, I'm not.
Right.
I'm totally unaffected by the postseason. And when you get in those big nut-crunching times and you're able to perform like that, that's everything. I mean, that's what's obviously allowed them to have the success, because they continue to either perform at the same level or take whatever juice that they have, the extra juice, and play even better.
All right. And, well, let's talk about the Dodgers real quick, about their offseason moves. Not much of them.
Oh, so what have they done?
What did they do? You know what I mean? They brought in Thor, who's a little bit over the hill a little bit now. It's not the same Thor from Queens, you know what I mean? Even though he got to a World Series, but that was kind of like he fell into that. So, it happens, So what do you think do you think the Dodgers took the right approach? I'm not trying to be a homer, but I felt like it was time for the kids to come up, because the Dodgers are probably, other than the Astros, the Dodgers are so deep in the minor leagues. Do you think they did the right thing? It wasn't really about cutting payroll. It's about giving out opportunity. Do you think that was the thinking there?
Well, we got to see. I mean, I don't know. I know they have a bunch of great young prospects, but we got to see these guys perform. And I think if nothing else, you put them on display, and if they struggle and you kind of have these question marks of whether or not they could do it, then you could trade them away and get your dudes. But you have plethora of riches there. Like it seems like it just doesn't stop. Now, I think losing Trey Turner is going to hurt him. That dude's legit.
Right.
Legit. Like, if there's one guy that I could start a franchise with, he would be towards the top of the list. Like, that's how much I think of him. will they be able to continue on and keep doing what they do? Of course, they're the Dodgers, and they put more money into it. They put all the effort into it. That they have the deepest front office in baseball. They have like GM after GM after GM, like all working together. Their analytics team, they spend more money on analytics than anybody else. So, yeah, the Dodgers are fine. Plus, they had Dave Roberts, Bob Guerin, a perfect combo of two coaches. Dave, face of the franchise, so to speak. And I went to UCLA just after he left, but he was there on my recruiting trip, and just awesome dude. And then Bob Guerin, I played for all through the minor leagues in the Dominican. Tactically, he's one of the best, and he just X's and O's, and so to have the X's and O's guy next to the guy that's got the moxie and everything to go with that, like I think the Dodgers can be just fine.
I agree. I think that, and when people ask me, I said I loved what they did. I said that you didn't want to waste your time overspending on some veteran here or there and trying to and put yourself in a position where we got to win right now. The Dodgers know that it's a win right now situation. You know what I mean? Because they have the pitching to where that says that it's a win right now situation. Because you can throw any hitters in that lineup. As long as those pitchers are pitching the way that they are, the Dodgers have a chance every night. And I noticed that. And literally they lost the series pretty much by 2 runs each of those games, or a run or something of that nature against the Padres. And since I'm talking about the Padres, do you think this is a short-term thing or a long-term thing that they got going on in San Diego?
It's looking like a long-term thing. AJ Preller, GM there, that dude knows what he's doing. They're still huge international signings. They're really bullish on that. They've got superstars now. That's probably the front runner right now. I'd say for the West. I know the Dodgers have done it for so long now, but with the personnel the Padres are featuring right now, that I would actually put them as like the slight favorites, which could be great for your Dodgers because first time in however many years you go in as, at least in my professional opinion, the slight underdogs for winning the NL West. And then there's going to be San Francisco. I think that'll be an interesting team. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Arizona's got some good young players in the West, but it's the Padres and the Dodgers, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's funny because when Henry came over here, he's like these dudes want to talk baseball. I said, yeah, shit, let's go. But now it's here. It's coming. Spring training. It's just a couple weeks away, and we've paid attention to the signings and what's going on now. It's man, okay. Right after Super Bowl, it's baseball season.
Right, and I haven't been this is pumped up for baseball season in a long time because I literally was very hooked on everything baseball last year because it seemed like basketball and football were just doing way too much of the politics, way too much of the grandstanding and things like that, and baseball just says we just gonna keep playing baseball. We're not gonna bring any of that here. We know what we've done for people, and we don't have to keep explaining ourselves. We know what we do. We're a good brand, and we've helped a lot of families be able to make some big generations of families as well, too. So baseball knows exactly what they're doing. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. One's baseball and one's about the UCLA Bruins basketball. So the first one I'll start off with, what's your thoughts on the Yankees, Aaron Judge, Stanton, these guys? When does it need to become the point to where they say to themselves, let's get some assets for one of these guys, well, not Judge, but maybe Stanton, to give us a real shot at a World Series, a real shot at beating the Astros?
They're not as good. Right. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Their baseball team is not as good as the Astros. They've kicked their ass during the regular season. They've kicked their ass in the postseason. It's complete ownage, and it's bad matchups for them. There's too much swing and miss in the lineup. It's whether it's the consistency of the starting pitching or the bullpens. I don't know. The Astros put the ball in play. They put pressure on the Yankees defense. They're not as good defensively either. So it's just they're not as good of a baseball team. Now that said, it's baseball. So if one team gets hot, one team's not. Any team can beat anybody in a 5-game series. I think the more you get to the 7-game, it's a little bit more difficult if you're not as good of a baseball team. But look, the Yankees are going to be there. Judge is a fucking superstar. He's the captain now, and I think this is a team. I love Jose Trevino. We had this no filter set up a few weeks ago at this National Baseball convention, and Trevino came on and just awesome backstop. Like one of the best. He won the Platinum Glove this year, which is the best defender in all of baseball, and gem of a dude. And so you have guys like that to keep the clubhouse, to say, level-headed, so to speak, and bring some realness and rawness to it. The Yankees are going to be fine, but as of now, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and they haven't.
I totally agree. I say if you're going to get rid of Stanton, you got to go get the best pitching possible that you can get. I think that's what the biggest issue with the Yankees is, the back end on the pitching, and they need to get a 4th or 5th starter. I think that they got 3 really good starters, but then when you get to that later portion of the rotation, that's where the Yankees really kind of falter at, because that game makes those games too 50-50 in my opinion when they get to that point of their schedule during the week and everything like that. Now, the UCLA Bruins hold a dear place in my heart as my favorite college basketball team. You went there, so you know that they've reemerged as a national power somewhat with Mick Cronin as the coach. What are your thoughts on Coach Cronin, and does this team have a chance to win a national championship this year?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I haven't watched a lot. I know, the last time I saw they were like 18-2, and they're rolling. Like, I'll check all, I get the alerts on my phone, my CBS Sports app, and I'm paying attention, but they're getting back to where they should be, and that's you don't need to win a national championship every year. Right. You don't even need to win one every 10. Ideally it'd be like one every 10. Right. That would be awesome. But UCLA, as far as like Sweet 16, every year. Elite 8, almost every year. Final 4, every other year. Right? Like that. Like those are the expectations that we have at UCLA basketball. So my freshman year there, it's O'Bannon brothers and Toby Bailey. That was a special time. J.R. Henderson, man.
Was Jelani
J.R. Henderson lived in my dorm. Right down the hall. Jelani McCoy.
Right. Cam Dollar was there too, right?
Yep.
Cam Dollar from Seattle. Yep. He was there. Was George still there? George Zedek.
Yeah. Zedek, I think Zedek was yes. Zedek 100% Zedek was there. I seen him in the mess hall too. Come on. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. And then that was Tyus Edney coast to coast against Missouri.
My goodness.
And then I was swinging from chandeliers at the Sigma Newhouse.
Dude, I think I was about 11 at the time, Burnsy, and I was like, literally, it's a Sunday afternoon, and you're sitting there with your heart coming out your chest like, this can't happen. We can't lose. We're the best team in the nation. And then here goes little Tyus, 4 seconds left, easy layup. So that brought me all the way back right there. So
every championship has one of those.
You have to have that game. You have to have that game. You know you do.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And then plus, not to mention the fact that my inspiration for broadcasting is Bill Walton.
Wow.
And so to still hear Bill and doing his thing, and to be able to flip on a game every now and again and have Bill just waxing poetic about smoking weed and whatever else he wants to fucking talk about, man. This guy's so next level. He's so beautifully raw and real, and he's everything. As a matter of fact, we just need to make him an honorary co-founder of No Filter Network, just because it represents everything we're about.
Man, I love it. I love all of it. And Burnsy, I know we could do this all day long, man. We could do this all day long. And you know what? I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I feel like I've kind of ran out of things. But we could just start talking about random stuff, since we were talking about UCLA and everything. But I don't want to be too wasteful. So, Burnsy, where can we get your plug at with No Filter Network? You guys been doing some incredible work right next to us and everything like that. Can you go ahead and plug us up real quick?
Yeah, just go to nofilter.net. We're a live streaming interactive platform. So basically, we do an interview like this. Instead of us just doing the interview, you actually can, boom, pop on, become live, interactive. So this whole day, like, we had people firing away in the chat. We bring people onto the screen, so it's like literally like, think about talk radio, where you can become part of it. But now this is, instead of just calling in, we're having this video conference chat at the same time. We got to get you on there. We got to get you guys on there. Create your own account. Like, it's that easy. We're an open platform. We're going to highlight all the content creators that are kicking ass. We highlight them, focus on them. All you got to do is you create great content. We'll pump you up through our social, whatever. So if this is something you do, then when you get done, you upload it to Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever else you want to upload it to. So you're still hitting all those other platforms. Record it there, record it live, and then if you want to edit, do whatever you want to do. I don't edit. We straight fire it on the other platforms, just because I feel that's more of who we are. But if you want to monetize it, you can charge for your shows. You want to do a fundraiser, there's tip buttons. So the whole thing, it's legit. Like, it was built for content creators, to empower the creators and to put the power to the people, to basically you own your own shit. And it's something that I think we're really proud of, and we like to say democratizing digital entertainment and giving everyone opportunities. So nofilter.net, check out some of the content. Some of it we control, some of it we don't control. So you might pull up something, you're like, this is dog shit. Well, I can't help you. Like, trust me, we're not going to be promoting the dog shit, but like then you're going to pull up shows like we have pros. We have Tony Bruno, this long time at one point the number one radio host in the country. We have Dave Benz, who did the morning session. That he was a Minnesota Timberwolves play-by-play guy up until this year. Longtime Bay Area sports broadcaster. And then we have in the morning, you have like Duncan Dad, who's like he just started doing this, just messing around in his basement, and just fell in love with talking about sports and doing this and that. So we have people from all walks of life doing it, and hop on board. Nofilter.net, create an account.
That is beautiful stuff right there, man. And I'm telling you guys, like you said, you guys get on that No Filter Network, nofilter.com. Go get yourself set up, and Byrnesy will see if you any good. If you gonna have the next hit show, or the next show that just maybe lasted 2 episodes. You never know.
You can keep going. It just don't mean we're gonna promote it.
You might not be getting. You can keep going with the show, but you just won't have the backup anymore. You know what I mean? You just won't have the cosign of Byrnesy anymore. So but guys, check it out. This was beautiful. This was probably my best interview of the week already. It's only Tuesday, but I got Byrnesy here. I was able to talk baseball, and that's all I wanted to talk, because I've been hearing about Cowboys all day long, and I can't keep hearing about the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Literally, they're not even in this. They have been off for the last 3 weeks, but we're still talking about them. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. Byrnesy, is there any shit? Where can we find you at on social media?
eBurns22, Instagram, Burns22, Twitter, and what else? I don't know. No, what's OnlyFans? Yeah, OnlyFans. My boy Kowalski he's doing all his. He switched. Formerly, he was doing all his OnlyFans at OnlyFans, but now he's doing all his OnlyFans at nofilter.net. If you want to find Kowalski on OnlyFans, that's he's.
Don't forget about Ike Nwanko and Cameron Dollar. Those two guys.
Did he say Cam?
Did he say Cameron Dollar?
Cameron Dollar.
I brought up Cameron
You
Dollar.
brought up Cameron Dollar.
Even though Cam ran up to Washington on us, we all remember that, but. He did get the coaching.
Yeah, I remember this.
Right, and then but he got all the tutelage from UCLA, because he was a graduate assistant. He played in the NBA for about a year or two, but he went right to being a graduate assistant, and he was a part of it was in Lavin and Introduction to Howland that time. About Matt Barnes, the Matt Barnes Trevor Ariza era. When we
we heard that. I like his spirit, though. I mean, how would we bring up UCLA basketball and not bring up Jason Capono, though, my boy,
right.
Man? He was fun to watch, huh?
Jason Capono, Long Beach legend.
Oh, dude, he just
Beach legend.
You want to talk about
point blank,
firing away? just drain. I
Right.
mean, he had a hell of a career too.
Right. Because Jason Capono, I was in high school when Jason was in high school. He was a year above me.
Okay.
And Lakewood was so good when he played there. Like, Lakewood was literally like Duke or North Carolina or something of Southern California hoops. And when he faced off with Casey Jacobson of Glendora, that was like the game of games right there. Seriously. Yeah, that was the game of games. Because Casey Jacobson was like the White Jordan. Like, dude had really good game. He's from Glendora High, and literally he had some real game.
Where did he go?
He wound up going to Arizona.
All right.
Yeah, Casey Jack. And so they continue, and see, they were able to sell that rivalry up when they both played at UCLA, Arizona.
Yeah.
UCLA wasn't really great at the time, but Arizona was killing it.
Yeah.
Casey and those guys, they were a Final Four capable team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, at the time. So, that squad was really good with Casey Jacobson. I really remember Casey because Casey would walk in the gym and we would be like, well, we're going to lose today. You know what I mean? And these are pickup games. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to survive here.
I love it. You guys need Fanatics View, man. You guys need to be putting your shit on No Filter. So basically create live on No Filter. Yeah.
I got you. Hey, every day I got my show, The Primetime Angles, the premier sports betting show. We've been at it for like the last 6 years or so when sports betting was just kind of a Vegas thing and kind of a dark room thing, you know what I mean? But now, everybody got a podcast, all that stuff. So we'll definitely have to go ahead and throw that in there and throw some more of our great Fanatics View interviews and everything. And even Walt's stuff with his Cowboys and his Mavs and all of his good comedy.
All right.
Look, let me tell you something funny. Jimmy Johnson, he told Jimmy Johnson, how about them Cowboys? Jimmy Johnson hit him with, how about them Chiefs? He's still mad. Byrnes,
You guys said Jimmy here, that's what he said?
Yeah.
How about them Chiefs?
How about them Chiefs?
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. All right, that's it. You guys already know Fanatics View with Eric Byrnes, the Byrnes man, and we are gone. It's your boy, Pop DiBiase.